Carolyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today's play is inspired by Matisse. I'm going to be using this stencil called Cutouts Inspired by Matisse because this is my take on those wonderful wonky shapes that he would cut out. And that was one of the things that I love about Matisse is he could do things that frankly are a little wonky, a little off. They aren't perfect, and yet they work like magic. Absolutely. Can you tell I'm crushing a little on Matisse? Well, anyway, I'm going to take it's got a piece of paper stuck to it, but a gel press plate, one of the small squares, and I'm going to use that to make a quick background and use that with the cutouts by Matisse. So it's going to kind of look like a game show meets Matisse. I'm going to start by creating a grid using the square gel press plate. Now this one comes in the petite set, so there are 3 of them that come in the set, and I'm just going to use the square for this because I want to build a colorful grid. So I'm going to ink that up, paint it up, you know what I mean, put some color on it with the brayer and then plop it in the top center. This is as close as I get to measuring or lining things up because the top of the page is straight, so if this one's straight, I'll try and use this one to line it up from there. And then I'm going to put a different color on it, so I am going to clean off that gel plate just by putting it on some scrap paper there. And because I'm going to be changing colors a lot, I know I'm going to have a lot of brayer cleaning off and that kind of thing. So what I did is grabbed an old ugly art journal page, notice all that brown, and that page is actually going to transform as I'm creating the grid just by doing my cleanup onto that ugly page. And that's part of what I love about gel printing is even the cleanup pages can be awesome. Now you are about to witness my lack of understanding of geometric shapes and their characteristics. Like a square, it's equal on 4 sides. On each side, it's the same length. Watch as I turn this gel press plate, because I thought it would actually fit better when it was turned. Yes, that was actually the thought going through my head, is it would fit better. Clearly, geometry was not my strength in school. Now, as I'm doing the pattern here, I had this grand plan for a pattern that I hadn't really thought through, which is pretty much how most of my plans are, that I would have sort of a pattern going on, that it would repeat itself, and that no 2 colors would touch each other, and I would have all 3 colors in each row. It seemed pretty simple. Maybe I should have thought it through a little bit more than what I did. Because guess what? It's not going to work that way. If I don't want colors touching colors, I can't have all 3 colors in every row. And sure, for that millisecond, I thought I've ruined this. It's the end of the world. It is a catastrophe. But then I realized, oops, it's just an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly. And as usual, an oops takes me someplace better than what I had expected or planned, and I actually like how it turned out better than the way that I'd envisioned. Now, this is one of your first videos watching with me. An oops for me is an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly, which is basically my way of handling my mistakes so they don't get in the way of the fun in the play. And you can see more ways that I let myself play by joining my free workshop called Permission to Play, and I'll have the link down below for you. So my color blocking game show grid thing that I've got going on here is just about finished. Now it's time to put something in the center of each one of these. And to do that, I'm going to use a stencil that I created over at StencilGirl Products called Cutouts Inspired by Matisse. Totally playing on his wonderful wonky seaweed, organic feeling shapes here. I'm going to pick a different one for the center of each grid. I've got some paint there, and it is a very thick paint. It's a heavy body paint, and I am just going to dab in an up and down motion if I want a very crisp image. Now, you can use any kind of acrylic paint to do this. The trick with getting a crisp image is to use either a small amount of paint or to use a very thick paint. Either one of those, because basically you don't want it to run underneath the stencil. Now, I didn't mask this off, so I got a little bit of a little oops mark over there, a little bit of blue, and it's an easy thing to deal with. I'm going to take a Q-tip, I'm going to dip it in some water, and I'm just going to wipe it up. As long as I do it fairly pronto, the stuff comes right up. And then I don't have to worry about spending my time masking stuff off and messing with that, because all that kind of prep work just gets in the way of the fun and the play that I want to do. So one of the most common things I hear about people when they use stencils is they want to be able to get that crisp image, and for whatever reason they aren't. So for that, I really encourage you, as you're doing this, make sure you pounce off a lot of the paint if you're having any trouble with paint running underneath it. The more up and down motion that you use, the crisper your image will be. The other thing that I know for me, when I'm stenciling, if I push down, put a lot of pressure on that cosmetic sponge, that's going to push or force more of the paint out and under the stencil. So sometimes a light touch is very, very helpful when wanting to get a crisp image. The rest of the boxes will all get filled in the same way. Now my plan for this was to make an art journal page, but as I'm doing this, I'm actually starting to think of a wall in my house where I think this would look fantastic on it. So I think I'm going to take this exact same technique and I'm going to do it on either a wood panel or a canvas. That way I can hang it on my wall. So once again, plans did not go as planned, but a great oops. Well, thanks so much for joining me for today's play. If you've been enjoying this video, I'd so appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And of course, you know I'd be so grateful if you know somebody that you think would enjoy this video if you'd share it with them. Now this video's almost at the end, but that doesn't mean the fun has to end. You can find more fun over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com, where I've got a newsletter with a downloadable video and PDF waiting for you, as well as more YouTube videos. Check those all out and hit that subscribe button if you want to know when I have a new video. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.